let's check on these worms and see what's going on. So checking the bubble wrap first. Paper bag's got a couple worms on it. And it's starting to feel kind of soft. And look at that, on the bottom here, it's starting to get chewed up. So we're going to put that off to the side also. This week though, I'm going to be harvesting the castings. So let me go ahead and start scooping these out. There are chunky bits in here, so I will sift those out. But first, we need to scoop them out and put them into another container. So I'll go ahead and get these scooped out. Now, I think most of the worms have migrated over, but there's still worms in this. So they will get sifted out along with any chunky stuff. There, I got this whole area here is all scooped out. And this was the new bedding plus some of the castings I had moved over here last week just to help maintain the soil biology. So let's go ahead and sift out some of these castings. I have the sifter we made a couple of weeks back that fits this 27-gallon tote setup. I applied some furniture polish along the rails and along this edge here of the sifter itself so that it slides easily back and forth. Let's go ahead and load this up with some castings and sift out some worms. I got some material in there. It started. You can see there are like little bits of chunky stuff in here, and there's definitely worms in here. So let's see how well this works. Now what I'm seeing here is that the castings are still a little bit on the wet side, and so they're kind of clumping together. But there's definitely materials that are falling through. Okay, we'll add some more materials in. Give it another go. Definitely not sifting out as easily as the potting mix. So this is all the chunky or too wet stuff I had left over. There's still a lot of castings that are in here I could harvest. But I would need to let them sit and dry out more. These are the castings I did harvest. Now I still need to be able to pick out some of the worms from here. And even after I harvest these castings, I'm going to leave them in this tote for a little while, just so I can try to remove more of the worms. And then if any cocoons happen to hatch in this, I'll be able to grab them too, or the worms that come out of them. Weighing these out, you can see I got 6 pounds, 6.8 ounces of castings. For the stuff that's too chunky or wet to sift out, I still have 9 pounds, 4.7 ounces of that material. And that's where the majority of the worms are located. The chunky wet material, I'm just going to go ahead and put back into the bin. With the chunky stuff back on this side, I can let that dry out some, and I'll add some more bedding material to the other side. Now I went and gathered more leaves and stuff from my leaf bin I got outside. So I'll add lots of new bedding to hopefully encourage more worms to migrate over here. So let's move on to this week's feeding. So I'll just move this material off to the side. And we'll take a look to see where we're at with last week's feeding. All the blended food appears to be gone, and I don't see the banana either. So we're going to do another feeding in this area to draw more worms to stay in this new bedding area. So we have another banana peel. And this week I did not blend the food, but it was frozen and thawed out. So we got some broccoli, asparagus, some carrots, potato skin. I think, yeah, that's potato skin. Some green beans. I also have something special for them, in that I have some coffee this week. I'm going to dump the coffee out, put the filter on top, and we'll cover that up with this new bedding I just added. You can see, this is actually the next day. You can actually see there's lots of worms already throughout that new bedding. So they are really taking in all that. And we'll move on to the marinara bin. All right, with the marinara bin, we'll take off the plastic on the top. Our paper bag is severely depleted here, so we'll need a new bag this week. And you can see lots of worms underneath that bag, or what's left of the bag. So we did a feeding here in the center last week. At least I'm pretty sure we did. So let's just take a quick look at that. There's little bits of food. That's actually a piece of wood right there. There's a little bit of food, and we have a little worm ball in there. So, but that's it. There's not like a lot of food in there, just a little bit. So we'll leave that in where it's at, and we'll do a new feeding on this side of the bin. So we'll dig out a spot. Actually, this bin is looking pretty close to having castings ready too. So I could actually harvest this bin in like maybe another week or two. I have some of the roots from the lettuce I harvested from my hydroponic lettuce. We have banana, some onion, green beans, broccoli, potato skins, some carrot, and it looks like some onion skin right there, and just a little bit more carrot. I think that'll be good enough for this week's feeding. I'm going to add a little bit of the azomite just to this, and I'm going to add some fresh bedding in here along with the paper that's all basically chewed up now. Again, all these leaves came from my outside leaf bin, and I just noticed there was a worm in there. So I'll go ahead and add that in, break it up a little bit because it was kind of clumping. Yep, see there was another worm right there, and that was from the outside bin. So a new addition to the bin. And we'll cover that up. Let me go get a new grocery bag to put on the top. Okay, we got a new bag in place. We got a couple worms I disturbed, and they're trying to get off on the sides here. Pull them off real quick. Put our plastic back on top, and we'll check in with you next week.